this particular talk, and every time I try to choose a new topic to ponder, to investigate, and this time I chose peace and harmony. And as a designer and an educator, it's important for us to investigate things thoroughly. And so one thing which I realized during my research was I came across this cellular biologist called Mr. Lipton, Bruce Lipton. And he wrote a book called Biology of Belief. And I think to understand peace and harmony and why is it important, it's very imperative and important to understand the cells which creates us, right? So in this research, I came to know that how important the environment is towards evolution itself. And why did the single cells evolve into such a complex being as us? And one of the key moments in this book was that the cells evolved because of the input and information they can receive from the environment. The more information they can receive, the more they can grow. But there is a limit to every cell that how much it can grow. So then they decided, okay, let's come together. ठीक है, साथ में सीखेंगे तो ज़्यादा we can evolve, right? So then suddenly these single cells came together and which allows them to take more information from the environment. And that's how the multicellular beings were evolved. And some cells said, okay, ठीक है, we are creating a larger being. Let me become the muscle, let me become the neuron, you handle the respiration system, and together we can all work in harmony and evolve into such complex beings and intelligent beings as human beings. And for the longest time we have the Darwinian theory of the survival of the fittest, right? Which a lot of scientists struggled because those who believed in cooperation were shot down by the Darwinian followers. Because they said survival of the fittest is the greatest theory of all, which we don't deny. Definitely survival of the fittest exists. But the foundation is not survival of the fittest. If that was the case, nothing would have survived in the vibrancy and variety that exists today. Everything would be fighting in each other to conquer each other, right? But, however, the whole ecosystem and nature works on cooperation. That's how we have a very dense, closed circuit loop in which one thing affects the other, and everybody, that's why you change fertilizer from organic to chemical. You have 1,000 different organisms which suffer because of that one small change, and so on. And therefore, harmony and cooperation is the basis. And we also have healthy competition, which is also a critical part of the nature itself. Now, when I relate this to education, so is curriculum more important or is the environment more important? That comes to the question. And one of the statements which I have explored is, when you're designing education, you don't have to focus on the curriculum, but create the conditions of learning. When I say conditions of learning, it means create an environment in which the students become capable enough to learn themselves. Because everybody has the same curriculum, if you understand. The knowledge is open sourced in a way, right? We all have the same books. Why is it that some colleges and educational institutions are premier and some are not? The reason is you have to investigate the social connections and the environment which has been created in those social institutions and not the curriculum itself. And Auroville, for example, is one of the experiments that were done where it's near Pondicherry, where they try to create a community so that this community can follow their own philosophy and rules. Currently more than 60 nations, and when Auroville was created, people from over 100 nations came together, they brought soil from their land, they put in over. So this whole feeling of coming together in unity. So it's a good experiment. I won't say it's 100% success because we are still evolving as human beings to understand how to live cooperatively. But I would say that this is a good example of community-based living. And in a personal, my own life, we are right now in the phase of planning a house. And what I've come to realize is, you can find the most beautiful place to live in, whether it's the mountains or the beach. But you can never get settled unless you have the people around you whom you want to live with. So when you're planning a house, don't plan a house, plan a community. Plan people whom you are going to live with. And if you have a good community, no matter where you live, you are going to be settled and happy and satisfied. This is purely because they know how sensitive human connections are. And for higher harmony, you have to design the larger systems around social connections. Then environmental conservation, everybody knows, but they are the pioneers of conserving environment. In fact, the most cheapest way to conserve the environment is let the tribals be. And as we know, due to mining and other activities, thousands of people are evicted from their natural state, which is not even worse for the people but the environment as well. And therefore, tribals, I would say, are the true inhabitants of any country or any place. Before any religion, any country, any ruler came in, they were living there. There are tribes in which no humans, modern humans, have ever had contact with them. Which means for thousands and lakhs of years possibly they have been there, surviving, taking care of the environment. And tribals also, they are so wise and aware. When they take their cattle to graze, they make sure they will only make it graze in a pattern. So they also have sequences. So that there is ample rejuvenation time left for the food in future. They will never consume everything that they can, which is the problem of the modern society, consumerist society, that we consume. So if I'm digging and I'm like, okay, we found oil, but the reservoir is getting over, they're like, okay, dig more, right? We need more of it. Instead of designing the cities around public transport, which can transport millions of people at the same time, we have designed cities for cars, which transports 1 to 4 people at a time, 5 people at a time. So where we are actually, and I can take my own example. I did a small test. I put information like what kind of food I eat. I'm a vegetarian, non-vegetarian, what kind of house I live, what kind of car I drive, how many flights I take. And in my current state, right now, I'm consuming 4x amount of material that I should be consuming, which is the limit of the earth. Because earth is limited. We have limited water, limited wood, limited iron, and so on and so forth. So my consumption pattern right now, I took 2 flights to come here. It's 4x. We'll need 4 Earths to survive. If everybody lived like me, you need 4 Earths. As simple as that. So which means our whole understanding of sustainability, none of it is sustainable, honestly. Because Earth cannot, so instead of us saying I want more, we might have to tone down our ways of living. And it should be understood that consumption and satisfaction are not connected. You can consume 10 times more but still not be satisfied, right? And this comes to the money and profit side. Profits are amazing. It's critical for any organization. It's the best incentive. I love money. Nothing wrong with it. But the problem occurs when you design the whole systems around money. Because you understand that a war can be profitable for someone. A pandemic can be profitable for someone. So if profit can be earned by any means possible, then it is not holistic in nature and it's not really taking care of everyone around who are not concerned with that profit, right? Which is 99% of the people. So like GDP, for example, it's a great tool, has helped us a lot in a lot of decades, but it's not holistic. It does not take care of the fact that what is the leisure. It does not take care of the fact of the well-being of people. Okay? It does not take care of the fact of the diversity of things that are happening in a country. So there are too many factors which it does not take care of, education and so on and so forth. It is just talking about goods produced or income and you know what we have done, and that's it. So which means in itself it's a great tool, but it's incomplete and we need to find greater tools. So when we say $1 trillion economy, it does not really mean that the people of the country, maximum number of people are actually benefiting from it. And the trends and the graphs show that the division between or the gap between the people and the income that the people have is increasing exponentially. So like if the CEO's income has increased 1500x over the time, then the other people who made it happen should also at least in some degree get a similar kind of income, right? But that is not the case. The gap has been considerably increasing because our focus and the parameters we are setting for the development of a nation are a little incomplete and a little biased towards one side. And you must understand that it takes a lot of time to create something. How much time would it take to create a university, create education, knowledge, dreams, aspiration. I study 4 years of college, I become a bachelor or degree, then I go and work, I'm going to make it big, I'll go to Silicon Valley. But if the harmony and cooperation is not there, one communal riot or something, it can destroy everything. Your family members are missing, your shop is burned, your aspiration of going abroad are gone instantly in a single go. And therefore it's extremely important for all of us to understand that it takes thousands and millions of years to create something which can actually vanish in a blink of an eye. And that's the power of destruction which is there. So just get to know people better, because 99.99% time people are not after you. They are not in a vengeful mode. Okay, they don't have higher agenda. They got triggered as a human being, and naturally their response looks of an aggressive kind. So whenever there is a conflict, try to understand the other side a little better. Use the indigenous knowledge of system design around conflict resolution. And I really wish, as a Bihari, Maharashtrian, Malay, European, Brahmin Pandit, Hazara, Purusho, that we all can find a better way, cooperation, love, to work together.